Do you want to learn how to set up row-level security in CrateDB for your multi-tenant application? In this video, we will learn exactly that. We will first have a short look on what RLS is, then set it up in CrateDB, and finally use it in an example application. So let's dive right in. Row-level security is helpful when building multi-tenant application because it allows you to store the data of multiple customers in a single table and in a single database. Row-level security works with policies, and these policies are basically SQL statements that return a Boolean on whether a customer can see that row or not. If you did not specify a policy yet, row-level security follows a default deny policy. That means no data will be visible. CrateDB itself does not offer native row-level security, meaning that we implemented ourselves using role-based access control and views. This might not be the ideal way, and as you have to check if it fulfills your needs. But now that we know what RLS is, let's start setting it up in our own CrateDB instance. For that, we will first create a new directory called crate-rls and open it in Visual Studio Code. We then create a new file called dockercompose.yaml. Inside the Docker Compose file, we will create a new service called crate with the image crate, a port mapping of 5432, and a command that starts crate as a single node cluster. We will then create the container by running docker compose up -d. Next, we create two tables in the database. To do so, we first enter the new container by running docker compose exec, and then create the tables for customers or the dynamic user and data for the data points. Next, we set up RLS for the table data. For that, we first need to create a new user role, grant privileges on the schema, deny all privileges on the tables, and only allow DML to insert and update and so on. Next, we create the data customer view that filters data based on the dynamic user. And then allow DQL for the view so that we can select on it. I will now add some example data so that we can use it in the next part where we build an example API. For the API, we will use the client library PG and Fastify. If you want, you can also include an ORM like Prisma ORM. To learn more about that, check the video in the I or in the description. To get started, we first set up a new project. For that, we first initialize a new project, install TypeScript, install PG and the types, and then install Fastify. Now we create a new directory called source, and inside it a file called index.ts. The file will have the following code. First, we import Fastify and the client of PG. Then we create a new Fastify server and a config for the database access. Then we create an example endpoint with a customer ID variable. We then extract that variable, create a new client, connect to that client, set our dynamic user, send our query, reset the user, and then end the connection. At the end, we will return the data as a result. And finally, we start the server on port 8080. Inside the endpoint, we set the user based on the variable in the URL. In a production application, you shouldn't do that. You should do that based on an HTTP header or something similar. Before we can start a server, we have to add a dev script to the scripts object in the package.json. And if you want to learn how to set up Fastify with auto reload, check the other link in the I or in the description. We can now start a server running pnpm-dev and checking the URL to get all the data of the customer with ID 1. We can also change the ID to 2 and get the data of customer 2. With that, you learned what row-level security is, how to set it up in CrateDB, and how to use it in your application. If you liked the video, give it a like and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. So, thank you for watching and see you in the next one.